Hello everyone, Dan Mitzi Harris here, product designer in Foundations Group, giving an overview of a recent sentiment survey we ran on the Pajamas design system. We wanted to collect feedback from GitLab team members who use the Pajamas design system and create a quantitative survey that we can use to gauge the sentiment. This survey will be repeated twice a year, so we can track and see if things are changing over time, if the stuff we're doing is having a measurable impact. This is the first time running the survey, and it'll be a benchmark for future comparison. The reason we're doing this is to try and understand if the design system works. Is it improving the quality and speed for the people building GitLab? Does it have enough depth and breadth for those people? And does it make them feel confident and enable them to contribute back to the system? We had 43 responses, which from our total population size of about 150, we think is pretty representative. We asked about the usage frequency of the different parts, selection of statements, and asked people if they agreed or disagreed, and afterwards asked open-ended questions to learn more about the answers given. So what is Pajamas design system? The goal of it is to treat the underlying foundation of GitLab as a first-class internal product. It supports our team members, product designers, engineers, product managers, and also community contributors with those roles to more efficiently contribute to GitLab. It's currently a component library of styles, front-end objects, guidelines used by product teams to build out consistent UIs when we make updates for those changes to happen all across features and teams and maintain consistency. Right now, it contains components and specs and the guidelines for how we use them internally, the entire system of generating the specs all the way through to usable assets in the whole app. So the top takeaways that came out of the survey is our consumers liked that the design system allowed them to focus on user problems. There was difficulty caused by the 3 different platforms, some usability issues and mistakes that came from it. There were lots of gaps in the system, both those that are documented as to-dos and those which are undocumented, which is reducing some efficiency and trust in the system. Full contributions to the system require significant effort, so some challenges that arise because of that. And some of the differences in Vue, Haml, Bootstrap Vue causes additional effort for consumers to understand and implement the components. So referencing the design system, we're currently spread across 3 different platforms: design.gitlab.com, GitLab UI in Storybook, and UIKit in Figma. So we asked respondents in the last 3 months, how often did they reference or use different parts of it? Design.gitlab.com and GitLab UI we used more often compared to the UIKit, and 28% of respondents in the last 3 months never looked at the UIKit in Figma. And of those who never looked, they were mostly engineering ICs. Sentiment scores then. The sentiment towards the statements that we asked were mostly positive. We asked 5 questions and asked for the first 4 and asked people to respond strongly, disagree, through to strongly agree. Our design system makes it easier for me to build a high quality UI. Our design system helps me implement or design features faster. I feel confident in using the design system and I can contribute back to our design system with ease. And then the final question was to gauge the depth and breadth. In the last 3 months, how often did you find yourself using something outside the design system? Top 2 box scores reflect the 2 highest, most positive responses. These percentages will make it easier for us to make comparisons between studies, but here's the benchmarks for now. We can see positive, all over 50%, agree or strongly agree, with the sentiments with the highest being easier to build high quality UI and the lowest being contributing back to the design system with ease. Respondents were asked a follow-up question, asking them why they chose the particular answer. After analyzing the responses, they've been coded and grouped into these 7 themes. For consistency and reusability, the good things people mentioned were recognizing making GitLab more consistent. For composing basic UIs, the system parts work well together, and some room for improvement. Consistency is lessened when proposals from outside the system come in. Spacing came up often, and where we have good composability for the basic, the complex UIs are harder to compose. And this consistency is localized, not present across the whole product or system. So where we might have something that's high quality in one place and another thing that's high quality in the other, when you put them both together, they're not consistent with each other. So there's more than 27 verbatims that talk about consistency and reusability. There's a selection here, but all of them are in the appendix. Quality, the details and polish taken care of, lots of comments about plug and play and focus on user problems, and generally positive feedback about the appearance. But there are also some comments about the quality being varying and some challenges with components not working well together. The usage and confidence, lots of positive comments again, but there were many respondents who did acknowledge they were still learning how to use the system. Some of the big challenges that came out in the responses were differences between Haml and Vue, and we also see some of this feedback overlapping in the system usability theme. To call out some improvements that people have noticed recently, there were positive comments about interactive Figma components and prototypes and how they make things feel more realistic. Hopefully when we repeat the survey in the future, we'll have more improvements to call out. Guidelines and clarity was another theme. What's good is when the guidelines work, they work really well and at the right level of abstraction to be flexible. But sometimes the guidelines can be misleading, contradictory, or even missing. And many verbatims called out the to-dos and a disconnect between guidelines in different parts of the system, where I might say one thing in GitLab UI, a different thing in the UI kit, and the tension between different spaces. For efficiency and time saving, lots of people called out the avoiding duplicative work, the waste of time it would be if everyone had to make everything from scratch every time, and the ability to shorten discussions by being able to point towards a single source of truth. But lots of respondents called out that they have to use lots of utility classes to create things, which is very manual. And spacing was really called out as something that almost always had to be done manually. So some good opportunities there. For system usability, the open source code allows consumers to learn more about the components. The verbatims commented on how people enjoyed using Vue, especially over Haml, but there were mistakes, delays, and confusion caused by information being in 3 separate places, separate challenges about translating Figma designs to code, and the usability was lowered for some by a lack of being able to find a system overview and an uncertainty about how the different parts of the system work together to form Pajamas. Like I mentioned earlier, the full list of verbatims included in this presentation. Do have a look and see if anything stands out to you. For contribution and collaboration, there's a good culture of contribution and the expectations were clear, but these clear expectations didn't result in easy contributions. Respondents commented on how the contributions can sometimes take the system away from itself, especially when things haven't been through a full component lifecycle. There's a lack of help see the system-wide impact of changes and the contributions needing a lot of effort. And this would even cause some to avoid contributing to Pajamas at all. Yeah, a lot of verbatims about this topic. So to come back to our original question of does the design system work? I think somewhat, but there are opportunities to improve. The respondents really felt the system helps them improve quality and speed. Reusable components, detailed guidelines, all of that great stuff. But there are some instances where the documentation isn't as clear as it could be and components are incompatible. So some of those benefits are lost. So some recommendations are to see how we can develop and test components in more complex combinations, help us catch any issues and really bring that systems approach and thinking to the forefront when working on this stuff, and build on the positive comments about implementation guides and make sure that they're there for everything. They're consistent, and the methods for implementation are consistent too. For the depth of breadth, we saw a low reported need for use outside of the system, which shows that we've got good depth and breadth, or consumers think so. But there are many gaps, many things marked as to-dos, and many respondents mentioned the guidelines it's missing or requiring extra effort. So some recommendations for how we can improve here is reduce the number of to-dos, either by creating assets or removing stuff from the design system. Another one is creating these guidelines for spacing and any methods or techniques we can use to reduce the manual effort needed to implement spacing across GitLab, and support the teams who are working on dashboards, help them create their patterns and bring it into the design system and make them available for other teams to use. In confidence and contribution, we saw some usability challenges caused by the implementation, the 3 different platforms, and those inconsistencies. So I think there's a lot of room for improvement here. We can do that by finding some way to reduce the inconsistencies between the different platforms. This could be consolidating the different platforms together, or finding good ways of mirroring or making the information available equally in all the places. And we could look to increase the quantity and quality of contributions by providing some routes for partial contributions, so teams don't lose the inertia of what they're working on. There's a space for one-ups, and a design system team can optimize and systematize these and make them suitable for inclusion in Pajamas. But there are other opportunities. These are the ones that jumped out to me when looking at the verbatims. I've got my lens from my experiences as a product designer and also my time at GitLab as well. So what's next? As a foundations team, review these results and recommendations, talk about them, see what stands out to the team. From that, identify some further questions for follow-up interviews, additional research efforts, so we can be sure that putting efforts in the highest impact places. Some of the problems that have been identified, push them through problem validation as part of the product development flow, so we can see some of these implemented. Also set a date for when we're going to repeat this survey, and explore some other sensing mechanisms, other discovery methods to help the design system category. For example, things like continuous interviews. So thanks for checking out this overview. Do dig into the presentation. There's a bunch of stuff in the appendix, some overview of the metrics, breakdown of the responses by role, and also all of the verbatims. But in the meantime, have a fantastic day.